Hello, this is Valerie Aiello, and you're listening to IdeaDiary. Thanks for coming back to my office and hanging out. Okay, so today I was watching a Henry Rollins interview. It's not his YouTube channel. I guess maybe they hired him to be the interviewer for... It's like a double YouTube channel. Let me just double check that. So I guess it's a YouTube channel called You Discover Music and The Sound of Vinyl. This is a 2-year-old interview, I guess, but they just reposted it on this You Discover Music. So it says they're in partnership with The Sound of Vinyl. So I don't really know exactly what the angle is as far as what these YouTube channels are. Maybe they're buying shows and then reposting them, which I guess could be a good idea. The amount of content that there is insanity. And the amount of good content where it's like 30-year-old shows and current up-to-date interviews that are like full hour content pieces, and it's just, there's so much to learn and to watch and to do as far as researching. Holy moly. So this interview with Veruca Salt, I guess this is when they put out their album Ghost Notes. Okay, so Veruca Salt put out Ghost Notes in 2015. So this was like their reunion record, or okay, so they broke up. I don't really know the story why they broke up, but what I learned in this Henry Rollins interview is that they decided to, bury the hatchet. They decided to bury the hatchet. I think that's it. And they kind of grew up, got over themselves, got over all the issues and all that, and then decided to hang out and pull out acoustic guitars, and which then turned into pulling out electric guitars and pulling out pedals and all that stuff, and then turned into let me share this song with you that I wrote, and then realizing that, okay, like they might have thought they might have a reunion show or something, like that would be the maximum amount of potential of making music again. I think somewhere around 40 you feel old as far as playing music, but then, and not everybody, some people can just like power through it and just keep writing songs and keep performing and all that stuff, but it's rare. Like if you get to play music as a older person, it's a really rare thing. And if you get to do it, it's very exciting. Anyways, that's a whole other topic. So they decided to just start writing songs again, and they liked it, and they felt like they still had more to say and stuff they could write about. So they wrote this record, Ghost Notes, which I'll probably take a listen to again, because I feel like I might have listened to a song or two, but I didn't really fully check it out. So anyway, it was just really funny watching Henry Rollins interview them, because they went from having a couple shows in Chicago to just being signed by a record label. And it was Chicago, it was the 90s, and I guess if you had a band and you were cute and the songs were good enough, you got signed. So, but they also had an instant radio hit with their first... Probably a 7-inch is what they made. It's hard to know like what the technology they were using at the time when they would have they wouldn't have done like a cassette single or something like that. They would have probably made some CDs, but they also could have just had a 7-inch vinyl. I don't know which one it would be. So they released one song, and then it got on K-Rock, and then got on some London radio stations, and then they were just on tour. But anyways, it was like funny watching Henry kind of asking them, like expecting like, oh, it must have been hard dealing with your record label and your managers. And they were just like, no, we actually had cool people around us letting us do whatever we wanted. And then he's like, well, you didn't have to do all the grueling touring. And then they're just like, not really, maybe a year of it. Yeah, I just found it kind of funny, like watching him interview them. It's kind of cute. Yeah, I mean, the main thing is I think it's not a very long interview, and I'll put the link to the interview in the show description. But I think if you maybe have a business partner, or you are in a band, or you're having some sort of business where you're working with someone else and it's kind of like a team effort, and maybe you're fighting or something, I think that this would be a good interview to watch, because I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of inspiring when you see two people that have broken up that come back together and just seemingly feel great about it, They've forgotten about all the old crap, and they've gotten over all the stupid stuff, and they can just keep creating. I just thought it was a good interview, and you should check it out. And another thing that I did yesterday was I discovered where the used vinyl is at a store that is open. So Half Price Books, which I feel like is in not every state, but there are tons and tons of Half Price Books, and I feel like they might have a chance of lasting through this retail disaster of everything closing and things not being open, and businesses cutting their hours to the point where it's just like not convenient at all for anybody to shop there. I'm having, like, any place that I want to go or eat at, I'm having to call ahead and say, are you really open? Because nobody's updating their Google business accounts. So they might say that they're open, but they're really not. Or the restaurant's open, but they're just doing curbside and you can't actually eat inside. There's all these like different things that I'm figuring out that I'm having to do to make sure I'm like not following the Google specific details, that they are open or they're not, or whatever. So starting to have all these patterns of calling to all these places to make sure they're open, and a lot of record stores just aren't open, or they have these like weird, they're only open on the weekends, or they're closed Monday through Wednesday, and I'm looking for a record on Monday, and whatever it is. I get it. It's this is not an easy time for businesses and all that stuff, but I still want to buy records and I still want to buy things. So I went to the Half Price Books by me for a specific book. Kind of just had them hold it behind the counter until I got there. And so I didn't really have time to like go and shop and see, what kind of records they did have in the record selection. But, when I was in there and I was walking by, I noticed there was like a full bin of all used records. And I feel pretty confident in Half Price Books on how well they would buy old records. Back in the day, I would buy old used CDs or something from them. And all their CDs were, it was pretty much perfect. If they were selling it, there wasn't anything wrong with it. So I'm assuming that the records are perfect, as perfect as they could be to be sellable. I didn't get to see what the prices were. But if you are desperate for that vinyl shopping experience and flipping your fingers through the stacks and actually kind of taking yourself out for random shopping, whether you're buying or not, but you're just want something, I don't know, fun to do with yourself. And I would say if you have a Half Price Books in your neighborhood, then go see if they have some old vinyl. I think that might be a good find for the situation that we're in for buying music. If you don't want to order every single thing in your life off Amazon, then I think it could be something that might be around for a while. I've just been enjoying the super intense creativity that is happening from 2020 energy, and I actually wrote a poem yesterday. I have no idea if it's good, but if it's good, I'm going to try to combine it with some visual art and just, I guess, put it into a show. I don't know. I'm going to type it up and see if it's good. I've got all these books that are written that need to be re-edited and then edited for punctuation and grammar and stuff like that. But I just have so much stuff going on right now in my mind and actually like physically down on paper and actually physically in my computer and like designed and all this stuff. I just want, like, everything is like going into this, like all this work is like going into this little tiny dam, and I'm waiting for the dam to break, and it just like comes out, and I have a bunch of product, stuff's coming. Yeah, I mean, that was mainly the show for today. I just wanted to talk about the Henry Rollins Veruca Salt interview, and thought y'all should check that out. And I wanted to tell y'all about Half Price Books having a used vinyl section, and just recommend, if you're looking for a place to shop for used vinyl that's actually open, that could be a winner. So anyway, I guess that's the show. I still don't know how to end the show, so I'm just going to play the music.